Hey dude, what's up?
Oh, hey, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks. How's that movie last week?
You didn't watch the review?
Oh, I did. How's the movie?
It wasn't very good.
You don't say.
Okay, alright, I know what you're doing. Alright, and you want your little moment? Go. Have your little moment.
Thank you, I told you so. Told you so. Told you. I told you so.
That's your told you so dance? That's your victory dance?
Yeah. What's yours?
Ah, it's more like told you. Told you.
Oh, no. Come on, dude. If you're gonna get elevated like that, you gotta get some elevation. Told you so. Told you so. Told you so. Told you.
Told you. Hey everyone, I'm Nate Fischer.
And I'm Dennis Stack.
And we are Cinema Buffs, bringing you the review of the new horror movie, Lights Out.
Alright, so as we said, this week we're bringing you our review of Lights Out. Now, this movie was based on a short from 3 years ago by the very same director.
That's right, and if you want to see that short, it's in the notes in the description below, so check that out. Also, be sure to like, share, subscribe our page. We appreciate all the support, truly. So, let's get into the overall idea of this movie. It's first-time feature-length director for this.
David F. Sandberg.
Yeah, he has plenty of shorts online, but this is his first feature-length.
Yeah, I think the transition from short to feature-length worked really well. That was a fear that I had going into this. Like, I thought that the short was very good and effective, but was it just because it was 2 minutes long?
It's
could
true.
it sustain for a feature-length?
Yeah, and it's a very simple idea for the short, and it's a fairly simple idea for this movie as well. It's essentially about a ghostly entity, if you will, that thrives on the dark. It only exists in the dark, which I think personally is a pretty terrifying concept. I think the dark isn't really utilized lately in movies as something that can be that scary, but I think the dark is probably one of the scariest things there is being alone in the dark.
Right, and I think that that's what was part of the appeal of this movie, because it's like a Nightmare on Elm Street, a little bit in that way. Just that, you can't avoid sleep. You can't avoid the dark either.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Something that thrives on something you can't avoid and attacks you in a situation you can't avoid,
right.
That's pretty scary stuff.
Yeah, and it's scary enough as well that this entity has the ability to control the lights. It can start turning things off on you that you better have something portable on you or else you're kind of screwed in the situation. So I think that the overall transition from the short to the screen was a good enough idea to make it into a feature-length film.
Let's talk about the pacing of this film. Once again, it was a short that got extrapolated into a feature-length movie.
Yeah.
But, did you think it's dragged on, or was it, what'd you think?
The pacing was a little off for me. I think that it didn't necessarily drag on. I think they spent a little too much time forming these characters, forming you to care about these characters, when it lacked in the scares for the first half. I felt like the first half wasn't that effectively scary.
I agree. There was the opening bit, which is what you see a good chunk of it in the trailer.
Yeah.
And but after that, just the scares seemed to die down. And while yes, I feel like they did kind of waste a little too much time on characters, I think they could have put more scares in there, because I know Nate and I have complained before about movies being too long or being too slow. I'm gonna say this one was too short, too fast. I mean, we got out of the theater. It was 81 minutes.
Yeah.
It was an 81-minute movie.
It was.
I just feel like it moved a little too briskly. I think it could have slowed down at some parts, and then maybe like the character backstory could have been developed later.
Yeah.
And more scares.
Right.
Because I thought there's more opportunities for scares, especially when we got this awesome special effect going in and out.
I think so too. The original short is so relentlessly scary. For how short it is, like a little over 2 minutes, it is so scary. I remember the first time I watched it, I'm like, that was the scariest 2 minutes of my life. So I was expecting that relentlessness with this film. I was hoping it would just constantly be thrown it at you.
I think acting top to bottom was pretty good in this.
Pretty good.
Can't say anybody really stood out as being that great, but nobody really stood out as being that bad.
No,
I think it was adequate. I think the acting was adequate.
Was. And the little kid, the boy that plays, I really liked him and how he reacted to these situations. I thought it was a pretty good way for this little kid to react to these types of terrible situations and things like that. I also like that there wasn't really any asshole characters. They were all pretty noble.
Yeah, there wasn't that guy you're just waiting to die or get killed by the scary
Even
thing.
the lead male, I liked him.
Yeah.
I cared about him, and he was just a very sympathetic person in general. Had good intentions throughout the whole thing.
Right, and well, speaking of the a-hole character you want to die. There's one small complaint I have about this movie. It's just that I'm not saying I'm like, a gore porn kind of guy. I need dead bodies on dead bodies, but it's like, like I think like 3 people die in this. You know, there's only 3 victims, so and once again, I think that should have maybe few more people die earlier, build up the scare that this is really something to be reckoned with. Right, because up until that point, it just feels like it's just a menacing presence. Yeah, not like a really deadly or dangerous presence.
Yeah. What did you think of the monster? Was it as iconic as everyone has been trying to make it out to be?
Iconic, I can't go that far. I mean, we're not talking about the next Jason Voorhees or Freddy Krueger here. No, I don't think so. No. But this camera trick, this editing trick that they do was so effective.
Super cool.
And like they found, and that was something I was worried about with the short to the feature length was, are they going to be able to sustain this throughout the whole movie? Or are they going to be able to come up with new tricks? And they did. I thought it worked great.
And she was scary.
She was, yes.
Like this, you see mostly a shadow of her figure, but her shadow is terrifying. These long, gangly fingers. She's got like this hunch to her, kind of the straggly hair.
You see the eyes glow sometimes.
Yeah, the eyes glowing is always a really cool effect as well. So I did think it was a menacing character, but you're right. It seemed almost a little playful a little bit at times.
A little tormenting, not a real threat.
Yeah.
The third act of this movie was great.
Yeah, and it's worth the wait. In the end, I was hoping it would be worth the wait, and in the end, it was. Also, all the plot development, all the character development that seemed to take too long, it kind of paid off in the end. You almost needed it. It just
no. And that was one of the things that, like when this movie first started off, the main character, Rebecca, was played by Teresa Palmer. She wasn't like, the wide-eyed doe, like, oh, gee, you don't want anything to happen to this poor innocent girl. But I think, like, they kind of, like, flipped it, and, like, she was just a little too dark in the beginning.
And
shut off, yeah. But then, as the movie, plays out, you figure out that's effective, because it was about her being shut in, and she's letting people in, and, really caring about others.
Yeah, including, like, her brother, for the most part, actually showing, like, almost a motherly side of her, being like, I can take care of this kid if I need to.
Yeah, and that scare, the lights on, lights off, I thought that was such a neat trick, and they used it so effectively. Like, even to the point where somebody's shooting a gun at it, and the muzzle flashes, it disappears. Like, that was awesome. Getting closer and closer.
That was one of the best parts, I think, where I was like, that's super cool.
It's kind of, just refreshing for a movie to be this scary, and it was PG-13.
Yeah. The PG-13 thing, I don't mind if a horror movie is PG-13. I think there's some great horror movies. The Ring, Sixth Sense, like, those are great horror movies that are PG-13, but at the same time, I feel like it limits a horror movie a little bit in the creative aspect. Horror movies are scary. They are not meant for kids. And so for this to be like, all right, if you're 12, 13, you can have this, it's fine. But also just the theater experience in general, there's just a lot of young people in there, and it was distracting.
Yeah, there was. There's a bunch of teenagers in there.
Yeah, this is one of the worst, like, etiquette situations I've had in a long time in a theater.
Yeah, for that reason alone, I wish this movie was rated R.
So do I.
But I don't think that there was really anything that an R rating could have added to it. I don't think, think this needed more gore.
After I got out of the movie, I asked myself, I was like, did this movie scare me more than the 2-minute short? And all in all, no. That 2-minute short was very, very effective, but maybe it was fresh. Maybe because I saw it a while ago, and I've been seeing these trailers and everything, and I sort of knew what I was going into.
Yeah, and the trailer's kind of with the trailers, like, you get the general plot. They kind of spoiled quite a bit in the trailers, but that's not to say, not to see this movie because the trailers ruined it. No, just, like they said, that effect was so just scary and just very good, very well used, and I feel like at the same time it could have been used a little bit more, maybe a little bit earlier with earlier scares, but overall,
it worked. All right, Dennis, having said all that, I mean, let's just put a number right on it. What do you think?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I have a few gripes. Like I said, it was just a little too short, and just a few beginnings in the problem. But overall, I had a great time. I got really scared, and this movie scared me the way I kind of wanted Conjuring 2 to do, but it didn't. So I'm gonna go with an 8 on this one.
Wow, that's higher than I thought it would be, actually. I'm going to disagree with you a little bit on it. I think that it was effective. Once again, it was just, the pacing was just a little off. It took a little too long for me to get to those relentless scares. And I feel like The Conjuring 2 was the relentless scares I was looking for, while this was just a little too slow. A little too slow while being too short. It's kind of weird. So I'm going to say 6.5.
Oh.
Still passable. I say see it, but 6.5.
Buff.
All right, everyone, that's our show. What did you guys think of Lights Out? Be sure to leave all your comments below. Also, don't forget to click that subscribe button so you can keep up with all of our episodes. Next week, we will be reviewing Jason Bourne, so be sure to look out for that one. And remember, guys, there's no place like the theater.